Okay, I need to focus on not moving.
Zen.
I did get some feedback from the previous episode.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. It was pointed out to me by a listener of the show.
Yeah.
That guys is actually a gender neutral word.
I've heard that before, but I don't agree with it.
If you look at the Merriam-Webster's definition of the word guy, it is person used in plural to refer to the members of a group regardless of sex.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot of words that defined one way and used totally different.
Yeah.
Feminazis hate that, so I have to make their point.
Okay. Anyway, that was the only feedback that I got.
Okay.
I don't know, from your side?
I'm still struggling with the gist thing. It might be too big a challenge to take on in one go, but I'm fighting against it slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm.
I found there are a lot of appropriate uses of the word. See, right now I really want to say it. It's one of those where it's very tempting to misuse it, and it's incredibly frustrating. Let's say that.
Yeah, it was also pointed out to me that even though I don't use the word busy anymore, in recent months I have replaced it with saying I am all over the place. So now that's a term I'm not allowed to use anymore, and
nice.
I haven't found something that I can replace it with. I think I just need to go back to using the word productive. That worked last time. Just when someone asks me how it's going, I just need to say productive until my vocabulary adjusts again.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's always a battle against the self.
Yeah, exactly. At least it's a positive battle, so that's all right.
Pushing to improve ourselves.
I guess.
To what end? Yeah, so some big things happened in Apple land.
Tech news, yes.
And I think we need to have a automation extravaganza.
Yes, all about the automation extravaganzas.
Yeah, so with iOS 13 dropping and the first patch also dropping.
We'll ignore the buggy version 0. We're on version 0.1 now, which is better. 13.1.
Yes. It's good. They added back the automations section in Shortcuts, which is amazing. I don't know if you had some time to take a look at it.
I've poked around briefly, but I am very excited for what we can do with this.
Awesome. And also iPad OS dropped.
Yes.
That's quite big as well.
I was installing it right before we started the show, basically. So I've been poking around as well.
I haven't updated yet. I just, you sent me a message that it dropped, but I just haven't had a time to update yet. So I'm very keen to dig into that and hearing your first impressions on, how is iPad OS?
Yeah, first impressions has a dark mode, so it's amazing.
Definite win.
The icons are smaller. You get more icons everywhere in the task bar at the bottom, I want to say, and on the screen, the home screen. That's really nice.
Did they fix the thing with the icons shifting when you rotate the iPad?
I have not tried that because my iPad is rotation locked. Let's see.
So do the icons stay in the same place though? Or do they shift?
Yeah, they stay in the same place.
Oh, that's so cool. I've wanted that on iPad for so long. Because sometimes I use my iPad in portrait mode and then nothing is where it should be. Everything has moved.
Yeah, let me try add more because I've only got 4 icons on the screen. Let me do, because I can do 6 on landscape mode. Oh, no, yeah, they stay there. All 6 stay in the first row. Yes, that's good.
Oh, you can do 6 now. It used to be 5.
Yeah, you can do 6 now, yes. And you can do, I don't know how many. I'm ruining my poor taskbar that I so carefully thought out as I was rearranging icons. Let's see how many I can get in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Can I do one more? I can do one more. Oh, it never stops. I don't have more icons to put in my taskbar. That's great. It's great. It's working great. I've played around with the task switching thing. It's a bit better. I feel it's easier to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
I've made my first double app layout with the PDF reader on the one side and notes on the other.
Can you now have multiple instances so you can now also link notes to another app?
Yes, so now I can have different layouts with the same thing. You can have two layouts with the same notes. Hopefully, Coda, nudge, nudge, you update your stuff to use this as well. Because two Codas next to each other is the dream.
That would be amazing.
Yes, Coda, please. We love you still. Do the thing.
Yep.
What else? The swipe to change between icon or apps, multitasking apps you drag from the left is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit weird, but I'll get used to it. You can now on your home screen do a swipe left. Or well, technically you take your finger to the right, so it's a swipe right, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you do a swipe right and then you get the notification center stuff where the widgets are.
Yeah.
So you can on the home screen just do a swipe, and then I've got my shortcuts one as the first one. So all of the shortcuts are right there. It's no longer a pull down, then go left. It's just one movement now, which is one less swipe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's about the main things I've played with. Obviously, the browser is much better, so you get a normal desktop experience and you can download files and that kind of thing. But who cares? It's nice.
Yeah. I guess you can have two instances of Safari running next to each other.
I haven't tried. Let me try that.
Two tabs open at the same time.
Oh, yeah. You could have two different Safaris next to each other with different tabs going.
Oh, that's cool.
I like this. Yes. Okay. So far, looking promising. I mean, they had me at do you want dark mode, but the rest is really nice.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Dark mode. I've been running dark mode on my phone ever since I updated. It is amazing. So good.
Yeah, same.
And there's, did you notice there's also some websites that take advantage of it? So it'll automatically switch to dark mode if your phone is set to dark mode.
I haven't realized that.
Like for instance, Twitter.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm super excited to play with it. I will probably be updating it tonight, so I'll have my impressions when we record next time. Then we can compare notes.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, Shortcuts is now an automatic install for everyone when you've updated. So even though Shortcuts has been on iOS since iOS 12, it's actually now when you update it, it is being installed as part of the update. And what we were talking about earlier is the new automation tab, which popped up as a center tab in Siri Shortcuts, which never used to be there. I did. Sorry,
We're gonna have a few of those.
Oh, you're gonna have to bleep.
Oh, here we go again.
I forgot. Like, this is gonna be a bleep episode.
I don't think we have to bleep the word Siri. It's because they don't usually pick up just Siri, right?
That's true.
If there's a hey attached, then it gets dodgy.
It's only Alexa, how are you doing?
I always feel a bit flat halfway through the week. If you need a little help getting through our day, then I'm on hand with some light trivia to get you through to the weekend.
Aw, thanks.
We could do a podcast where it's just Alexa talking. Alexa, tell me a story. Oh, it didn't. It's doing it. It's just very quiet. Alexa, stop. No, stop that, please.
Down, boy, down.
Alexa, stop. It's not stopping. The robots have taken over.
Anyway,
We're getting back on track.
Back on track. There's two new sections in the automation part of Siri. It's the personal automations and Home Hub automations.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the Home Hub ones at all, just because I don't have an Apple Home Hub set up.
Yeah, same.
So there's not much that I would like to discuss on that currently, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought about it last week somewhere, just after the update. I thought, because what you can do is you can set up your iPad or any other iOS device as a hub, right?
Yeah.
But the idea is then that it kind of stays
there, yeah.
And my iPad travels with me all the time, so there's like no sense setting that up as my...
Well, now that I impulse bought a new iPhone, the old iPhone might just become a hub. for experimentation reasons.
That is not a bad idea. I also have an old iPhone just sitting in the drawer.
See, we can get something going here and play with it for next time.
That's not a terrible idea, because there are a few home up stuff that I do want to check out. I haven't looked at all the things that connect to it, so I don't know if it's just going to be Apple TV and speaker stuff.
Okay, getting back on track. There is a shortcut app that more people are going to use now. For any one of them listening to this and they haven't installed it previously, you can tell stuff to do stuff.
That's such a broad way. That is the broadest way you can explain that.
Exactly. Right.
You can you want to try again?
No, I'm very happy with that description.
Okay. Are we going with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for people that didn't get that, so the shortcut stuff it's a very easy, accessible way to set up automations on your phone. So you can have things trigger on certain actions and then trigger other things. It's like programming without having to write code. You're just using these building blocks and chaining them together.
Yeah.
And I must say, it's a very good time to get into the Siri stuff now, because it's so much easier than it used to be. Just workflow days before, workflow was acquired by Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, workflow used to be like, before Shortcuts was Shortcuts, it was called Workflow, which was a third-party app, which was amazing. Like, what they were able to pull off not having access to the deeper Apple ecosystem was pretty amazing.
It's really, really well done.
And then Apple bought them, gave them access to the lower-level stuff, and now Shortcuts is really, really cool. Siri Shortcuts on its own is just I think we have talked about some shortcuts that we have on the show before.
Yeah.
But just to kind of broadly touch on it again, I have a few ones that do, just a few actions and, start a timer and toggle, like tracking my time on a specific thing. For instance, my start travel timer, where I'm on the road and I'll just say, hey, Siri. Oh, I didn't pause long enough. Start travel timer, and then that will kick off a call to the toggle API and as a web request and actually start that timer for me. I also have one for starting my sleep timer at night when I go to bed. That does two things. It kicks off a timer and toggle, and it also in Auto Sleep, the app that I use for sleep tracking, sets off lights off. And then in the morning after I wake up, I do that 1 minute breathe session to give Auto Sleep the most accurate readiness score. And then I run my readiness shortcut somewhere during the morning, which then gets my readiness from Auto Sleep. It gets my latest bedtime. So by when I need to be in bed tonight to have good sleep, and it gets my total time asleep, and it pushes all of that to a Firebase DB that I have running, which my quantified self energy tracker thing runs from.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get back into what that energy tracker is. I'll just link to it, and we'll link to the episode where we discussed that.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, so I think those are like my high level. I've also got just a shortcut to start my morning ritual, which at the moment just starts a timer. But I do see that could potentially do some more stuff, like prep some stuff in my calendar, prep some stuff in Todoist for the day.
Yeah.
Maybe look at whatever I put somewhere in a list the previous night and move that somewhere. There's a lot of stuff that you could kick off with morning ritual automation potentially.
Yeah.
So I started by creating the shortcut just to form the habit of every morning starting my morning ritual timer. And then what I slot into that habit can change.
Yeah.
So it's a way of setting the habit, but then I can extend on that habit without having to go through additional effort by just extending the automation.
That's really smart.
So you can do some really cool stuff with automations and with shortcuts.
Let me just also cover mine then. The ones that I have and actually use, I've got one that starts my reading timer on toggle. I've got another one that stops the current running timer and also tells me how long it's been running for before it stops it. So that's incredibly useful for the reading thing. Then I've got one to set the lights to on, the lights to low or reading mode, and the lights off. And then probably my favorite one is a quote one, where I highlight and copy text and I hit the shortcut to quote. And then what it does is it automatically opens up Note, and then you give it a note that you want. I've seen that they've updated it so you can in the shortcut specify which note to work on, but I haven't fixed mine or updated mine yet. So I tell it I want the note for quotes or things I want to think about or things I want to research further. And then I hit OK, and then it pastes it in there in a specified format. So it adds a line break and it pastes the text and then the date and which book I got it from. And then it automatically reopens the reading the books app. So it puts me right back. And I just love that. It's really good.
That is very cool. That's a nifty little shortcut. Do you have that set up as a shareable shortcut?
I can do that because there's nothing private in there. Yeah, so I'll link it in the...
Awesome. On that note, I wonder if they put sharing back, because I think sharing was disabled.
Ah, interesting. Let me see. I remember you could export it as a file.
So I asked it now, and then I realized I tried to share a shortcut the other day with you, and then...
Yeah, I'm also not seeing anything, although...
Looks like you need to enable sharing now.
Ah, okay. Okay, that's fine. There's an option to allow unsigned shortcuts in the settings, and I'm hitting that now. Let's see what happens to that.
Did that make a difference?
Yeah, I can do it now. It's in the bottom right when you go to edit it.
Yeah, it shows now. I have the shared now. Okay, so we can share a shortcut. If you want to use the shortcut, though, you're going to have to go enable that setting on shortcuts. So looking through the automation setting, so there's the My Shortcuts, Automations, and Gallery in the new Shortcuts app. And then, so on the Automation tab, you click on Create Personal Automation. There's 3 categories of, I guess it's categories of automation.
Yeah.
Events, travel, and settings. So events is either time or day, when an alarm, something with an alarm happens. So with alarm, this is actually the first time I'm going into alarm.
Oh yeah.
For alarm, it's is snoozed or is stopped.
Oh.
So you can kick off automation when you snooze an alarm. That is pretty cool. So on the travel stuff, I guess that's where you could use the lights automation. You could, when I arrive at home, or probably you can use the arrive one at a location.
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to do definitely is I used to have, so my travel timer, there was never a way to automatically kick off a shortcut based on time or location and that kind of stuff. So what I did is I used Launch Center Pro to remind me based on location to start my travel timer if I left town. So what I can do now is automatically start my travel timer when I leave town and stop that timer and start another timer when I get back to town. So if I go on a business trip, automatically start and stop my travel timer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I wonder, I just realized something very cool. I can automatically... Sorry,
I think both of our minds are just going, oh, I could do all of these things.
This is my automation brain kicking in now. I can automatically, because I know my home address, I know the location, which would be me leaving town. I can set a kind of like a quote, air quotes beacon for that.
Yeah.
I can, based on meetings in my calendar that have a valid location set, do arrive and leave. I wonder how that would work though.
Oh yeah.
So leaving home, leaving town, starting the travel timer, getting there, stopping the travel timer, and starting a meeting timer.
I see.
Have the meeting, leaving the client location, starting travel timer again, getting home, stopping the travel timer, and starting another timer. I just don't know if you can automate it, because all of those are separate triggers. I don't know if you can automate automations. I need to automate automations.
We'll never be happy.
We just got automations and already it's not enough.
I'm still trying to do one that when I open Instagram, I wanted to close Instagram. How do I close an app?
Oh no, I know what you need to do. So you need to every time you open Instagram, log a counter, increment a counter somewhere, like in the spreadsheet.
Uh-huh.
And if it gets to a specific limit, then you either close it or disconnect your Wi-Fi or something. I don't know.
Send a tweet saying Jacob's being lazy. I can't tell it to run a
cheating on Twitter with Instagram.
Exactly. Yeah. This is probably going to be very boring to listen to, but I'm enjoying myself at the moment.
Yeah, no, this is fun. We're exploring the possibilities here.
I did want to ask you more in general what other automations you have, like in your sphere of applications and software and things.
Oh, like not just shortcuts, as in just...
Yeah, not specifically to shortcuts. Like what other things are automated that you like?
Trying to think.
I can go if you want some time to think, because it took me a while.
Yeah, you can go first. Well, I think the problem is, like, because it's automated, you kind of forget about.
If it's a good one, you forget about it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you said you wanted, or when I saw in the doc you want to talk about automation, that's what I thought initially, because I didn't know there's a patch coming out, so we get it back, and I went, okay. I don't think I've got any anymore. So it took me a good 30 minutes to come up with this list. And there's quite a few. So most of them are decent.
Okay, awesome.
You remember our old friend webtask.io?
Yes, I do.
I've still got the toggle one running every night that checked how much I did reading and pushes that to my personal API for the dashboard I have.
Mm-hmm.
I've also got the one I got from you where it tracks sleeping in automatically each morning at the time I'm supposed to get up.
That is the one I always forget about because it's so good.
It's so good, right? It's very good. I've got a if this then that when I buy something with my Monzo card, it adds it to a Google Doc. I haven't ever done anything with the Google Doc, but I've got about 4 months worth of data in it. So that's something to look at someday.
That's pretty cool.
I've got I don't know how you say it, Zapier? Probably Zapier, right? Because it zaps.
Yeah, I think it's Zapier.
Yeah, so I got the new one there that when I do an exercise that's logged in Strava, it logs it to Toggle. I've also got that there's a few RSS feeds that it checks, and if those RSS feeds are updated, it emails me the changes. So it's like an RSS reader without having to bother with an RSS reader because I can't be bothered. I have got the bot that does the Twitter posts every Saturday about the GIFs.
Oh, right. Yes.
That is technically an automation because it does things that I like.
It does.
Even though I completely forget about it unless I get a notification that it crashed, which fortunately doesn't happen that often. I'm working on a new bot, the Jarvis, that's going to orchestrate my life someday. At this point, it only nudges me to do reading. After 8 o'clock at night. It starts going, hey, you've read X amount of time. So it checks my toggle and then it's got tailor-made messages, and it's also got a drinking mode. So if I go out drinking, I tell it it's in drinking mode, and then it gives me a lot of cheek and tells me to drink water because I'm really bad at that. And then it's the lights in my house, so they simulate a sunrise where at 6:30, which is the time I want to get up, they're at full brightness, like a slow fade in, and then they automatically go off at 8 a.m., which is when I leave the house. And then also there's a sunset from 8:30 where it starts fading into reading where the lights are really low. And then at 9:20 to 10:05, it fades out very slowly. And then 10:05, 10:10, somewhere there, the lights are off. And then I know, okay, I'm supposed to be no devices right now. I'm supposed to be thinking and or sleeping. And I think that's all of them. I feel like there were more at some point, but that's the only ones I can think of.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, dude. That's quite a list. I have a few which I kind of forgot about. So I quickly because when you said I have triple T, I kind of remembered, hey, I do have some automations in there. The one that I haven't used, but that was because I was in a shared office, and I kind of stopped using my Alexa.
Did you bleep yourself?
I'm just pausing because she's listening.
They're always listening.
Okay, I dodged it. So I can ask her to trigger focus time. Then that sets my rescue time to focus time. So it blocks websites, unproductive websites and all that kind of stuff. But I actually don't use that. I forgot about it. I need to actually start using that again because that is pretty useful. I do have... So I guess this counts as automations. to a certain degree, although it's just in rescue time. So after I start up my laptop in the morning, if it's before 11, it starts a focus time session for 2 hours. So you can go, I'll link some more info in the show notes about the rescue time focus time. But basically what it does is everything that's marked as unproductive or not productive in rescue time, all those websites gets blocked, so you can't access them.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, for every 30 minutes of unproductive time that I spend during the day, so that's any time during the day, before 5, a focus time session starts for 1 hour. So if I do like 30 minutes of YouTube, then it's gonna block me after 30 minutes and then force me into focus time.
Okay.
For every hour that I work, I can do 30 minutes, kind of, but I don't, I don't know, I feel I haven't triggered that in a very long time.
It's been a bit of a crunch time, so
Yeah, so I guess the habit just is ingrained as well.
Good. It worked.
Not really looking at all those unproductive sites anymore. I've got an interesting one here which I completely forgot about, and it still runs to this day. I set this up years ago, but it's a IFTTT. I don't know what you call them. Do you call them automation?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what you call them. Then that.
Yeah, which all it does is when I take a screenshot on my phone or my watch, it saves it to a separate iOS album for screenshot.
Really? That's very cool.
Yes, and I don't know if this is now built into, like, what happens to your screenshots?
So there's something about screenshots in Photos now, but I never used that layout of Photos. I just go albums and then recent, so all pictures.
So I'm just checking through.
There is a media type for screenshots under albums.
I don't know. I need to check this one out because I'm actually not sure. So I have a screenshots folder, and all of my screenshots from my watch and my phone that I've taken are sitting in there. Just checking through what else here. There was so I tweet Medium stories that I recommend with IFTTT.
Cool.
Yeah, there's not that much that I use IFTTT for anymore.
No, it's good. I was just curious. It's always interesting to me to hear what automations people have.
I also have that sleeping in timer in WebTask.io.
Well, I got it from you, and that's amazing.
Yeah. That starts every morning at 5. If my sleep timer is running, it starts my sleeping in timer. I have another one in WebTask which does the whole mapping of the readiness stuff to in a format that is usable by my energy tracker. So that's also an automated thing. Runs every hour, and it gets the data and then refreshes everything for that graph. So I also have a Zapier automation that exports all of my last.fm data into, like, backs that up into a Firebase database. That runs weekly because, I'm not paying for last.fm.
Yeah, no.
That should still be going, but I haven't checked on that in a very long time. So if anything changed in the last.fm API, then that's probably broken. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I have many other automations. If I do have, it's like more stuff that's, I don't know anymore. It just does stuff. I should probably keep a list somewhere of all of the automations.
Yeah, I'm glad I made this list. I should also keep it around somewhere.
You think there's time for a quick health club check-in or something? Or did you remember anything for observation club? Or are we not doing clubs?
And health club, I've been doing a lot of running. I'm in between gym memberships at the moment.
Oh, right, because you moved. So now, new gym.
Yeah. So the old gym is in the wrong direction. So now I'm getting a new gym pretty much across the street from where I work. And they've also got a swimming pool. So I'm excited to do that. How's your health club been?
It's going good. Started weight training and stuff again yesterday. No, not yesterday. Monday. So that's in this time paradox 2 days, 3 days ago, 3 weeks or days ago, who knows.
I'm leaving that in. 2-3 days or weeks ago. It's things happened. It was in the past or the future.
Yeah. So started weight training again, so that's going well. Also doing marathon training while doing this.
Oh, yeah.
So that's exercising pretty much. It's not yet, but going to get to twice a day. So there will be gym in the morning, weight training, and then runs in the evening.
That's amazing. Well done.
Yeah, stepping up the game. I actually want to see. So the goal is to run a marathon next year.
Okay.
I think we can wrap this up.
I did get an observation club in my notebook. Thank you, notebook. I love you.
Damn it! No, I need to think of something. Okay, go.
Well, you don't have to, because this one is sort of from you. I read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which you recommended, and I absolutely loved it.
Oh, really? Wow.
And one of the quotes from it is, "You truly cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought, not even one." And I've been really trying to live by that the past week and a half. It's really difficult.
It is.
But they talk about that thing where as soon as you notice a negative thought, you immediately think of something positive. So that's pretty much been my observation is whenever something negative pops up, trying to think of something else that's positive. I haven't had an outcome of it yet. I feel like it's a pretty decent thing to attempt. So that's, it's not really an observation. It's just something I'm observing in myself, but it's something.
Yeah, that's cool. That's it's good. It's in the moment self-awareness, catching yourself.
Yeah.
That is next level. And that's also stuff that meditation helps with, it helps you to, in the moment, realize what you're doing and then course correct. And when you get to that point of being able to, in the moment, course correct on the rules, I guess, that you set for yourself, that's powerful stuff. Like, that's rewiring your brain to achieve greatness.
Trying to, at least.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's awesome. I really should read that book again. I did, dude. That's the last book that I read. I read it 3 times back to back. I studied that book for like a month, maybe 2 months.
I finished it. I finished it, I think, in 2 sessions. So I read half of it the one day, half of it the next, and I immediately went, this is number 1 on my to reread list.
We can maybe have a discussion about that book at some point, because I have a lot of notes on that book.
Oh, yeah. This time around, now that I can also much more easily have the notes next to each other and there's a dark mode in both of the apps now, it makes sense for me to actually try and make my own notes. So yeah, we could do that.
I did my own little summary of the book. And this must be 2 years ago now, 2.5 or 3 years ago now that I last properly went in. So I would like to read it again, but I have a little, those little square whiteboards?
Yeah.
I have one of those, which only, when did I move offices back home? Like a month ago. But then I was here probably like 2 weeks ago. I wiped that board. So I had an entire summary of that entire book on that little whiteboard.
Nice.
I have a few photos of, so I have photos of it. We should have a proper discussion about that book at some point. I really think that's worth digging into.
Yeah, I think so as well.
But first, let's get this automation stuff going.